One of the most common questions we get is, what are the settings that I should use on this particular effect or this particular pedal? And there's a few reasons I'm not going to answer that. One, I have no idea what your playing sounds like. I don't know what your instrument sounds like, your rig. I don't know the context you're playing in. I don't know what your ensemble is. It's the same reason that I can't tell you how much garlic you should put in your spaghetti sauce. I haven't tasted your spaghetti sauce. I don't know what you like to eat. But what I can do is I can teach you how to find those settings yourself. And that's what we're going to do today. This is one of those things where the journey is just as important as the destination. Yes, we have to arrive at the correct place, but if you don't know how to get there, what are you going to do if somebody touches your pedals and moves the knobs around? Like, how are you going to find them again? If you know how, you can just do it yourself. So today I'm going to teach you how to find the settings that you're going to like on any pedal that you try. We're going to use a couple of different pedals as examples, but one of the first things you have to understand is that different classes or different types of pedals are going to need some different approaches, and we're going to cover all that. There are kind of two different reasons that I will try out or audition a pedal. One is if there's a very specific thing that I'm looking for. The other one is if I'm just kind of exploring and looking around and experimenting to see, well, I don't know, I heard about this pedal. Maybe we'll see what it can do. For that first one, if there's a very specific thing that I'm trying to do, maybe there's a sound that's in my head, maybe there's a sound that I've heard somewhere else. I will say that if you're kind of new to this, you want to be careful with chasing sounds that are in your head, unless you know for sure that that sound is achievable with a certain kind of pedal. You could end up chasing a ghost, okay? I've been doing this a while. I know, say I've heard a specific sound. Oh, that's a phaser on that distortion sound. I would like to get that sound. I already know to start with a phaser pedal. At this point, I'm just trying to determine which phaser pedal I want and what the settings are. That's going to be your highest probability for success. If we're in the second situation where somebody's just handed me a new pedal, they're like, this is really cool, you should check out and see what this can do. I'm going to enter that with a very different thought process. The first one, I'm looking for a thing. The second one, I've got no preconceived notions whatsoever. I'm just trying to explore this pedal to see what range of sounds it can make. One thing you'll notice with pedals is that most of them have some sort of volume knob on them. This is a gain pedal, so it's got two. What I will generally do is I will start with that volume knob all the way down. With a gain pedal, I'll turn the gain up just a wee bit. And then I'll start playing, and I'm going to bring this volume knob slowly up until it's at the place where I've got the level that I want to audition this pedal at. Sometimes there are switches or mode settings like this. I'll usually just start with the first one, and then there's going to be tone or EQ settings on a lot of these. I usually start with those kind of in the middle. That's going to give me a nominal idea of what sort of the midpoint of this pedal sound is all about. If you have a looper, it's really nice to be able to put that first in your signal chain, play some stuff into the looper, and then use it to audition this pedal so that you don't have to play and turn knobs and play and turn knobs. You can just hit the start on the looper, and then your hands are free and your ears are free to actually hear what the pedal is doing. The key is to make sure that your looped signal is at the same volume that your playing will be, because especially with gain pedals, that matters a lot. If it's a time-based pedal like a reverb or a delay, one of the first things I'm going to do is hit it with a transient, either a chop or a real quick pluck on the string, so I can hear how the pedal actually responds in time. On this particular pedal, there's a knob that says E level. Let's turn that down and then up and see what that does. Generally, I will turn it all the way down and turn it all the way up, and maybe even go back and forth a few times until my ear figures out what it is that that knob does. Once we find kind of the Goldilocks spot on that, then we're going to move on to the next knob and do the same thing. Again, turn it all the way down, turn it all the way up. You may have to go back and forth a few times till your ear figures out what that knob is controlling, and then find the sweet spot in the middle-ish somewhere. Now, once you've worked your way all the way through these knobs, you may have to go back to the beginning and kind of touch each of them up to see if they were affected by the knobs that came after them. Now let's talk about how to audition gain or drive or fuzz pedals. I told you that these have two kind of volume knobs on there. There's a gain or a drive. That's kind of where your dirt comes from. And then this volume pedal compensates for level, because as drive or gain or dirt goes up, it's going to get louder, so we have to use this to compensate. It's going to be a little bit of a dance. Again, if there are switches, just pick a spot for the first pass, then we'll switch later on. If there are tone or EQ or other control knobs, start with those in the middle, and then we'll kind of get to that in a minute. With gain pedals, I almost always start with a power chord, which is going to be my two bottom strings open, right? And let that ring a little bit. Then I'm going to play some single note lines, and then I'm going to play some other double stops. You're going to hear that the power chords and the double stops are going to be dirtier. The single note lines are going to be cleaner. We just kind of, again, have to find that sweet spot so that I've got the best sound I want for both of those. Obviously, we can't start with gain all the way down or the pedal's going to be silent, so I'll just kind of crack it on just a little bit and then use the volume pedal to get me the level that I need to hear. Once we found the drive setting that we want, paired with the appropriate volumes, it's time to explore the other knobs. Again, start with them at halfway, turn them all the way down, turn them all the way up, find the sweet spot in the middle. Now, if there's a switch or a mode or one of those things, we're going to go to the next one and we're going to start this process all over again. The good thing about this is that it's a systematic process that's going to help us deal with multiple dependent or independent variables. It sounds like it's going to take a long time, and sometimes it does, but the more you do this, the faster you're going to get. If you're doing this and none of the switches or knobs seem to have any effect, or you can't understand what they're doing, some of these pedals like Electro Harmonix pedals or Chase Bliss pedals, some of those are super complicated. They're not necessarily super intuitive. It may be time to read the freaking manual. I know. I'm not a manual guy. I don't like using manuals, but with some of these, if you don't use the manual, you are absolutely sunk. If for some reason the manual is not in the box with the pedal or you bought it used, just Google it. They're almost always going to come up. Also, make sure that you are testing these pedals with a variety of different techniques, ones that you're going to be likely to use when you play this pedal, because they don't always act the same for pits as they do for arco. They don't act the same for double stops as they do for single notes. Sometimes you won't know what it's going to sound like in a fast passage until you play one. Just try the thing out, do a bunch of different types of playing. The biggest mistake I see people make when they're auditioning pedals is that they don't leave any space in their playing. Make sure that you've got some rests so you can hear if there is a time component to this, or if there's a sustain that you weren't expecting that you didn't hear because you never stopped playing. Also, make sure that you're playing double stops with lots of different qualities, seconds, thirds, fourths, fifths, octaves, because sometimes those pedals are going to react differently to those kind of interference patterns that you generate with double stops. Now, this is where science gives way to art sometimes. Sometimes you will be experimenting with a pedal and you're going to hit a sound and this wave of ideas comes out of your head. I don't know where all these ideas came from. Take a second, indulge yourself, and just play for a little while. If you get stuck here for 10 minutes playing with that particular sound, that's a little gift from the universe to you. Just enjoy it. This music thing is supposed to be fun. It can be a little stressful. We've got systematic methods for doing all this, but sometimes you just got to stop and hear the pedal, as they say. Some pedals you're going to plug in, you're going to try them, and within a minute you're going to go, yeah, this one's not for me. That's okay. Pedals are not people. They don't have feelings. Not every pedal is made for every person. Just move to the next one. It's fine. Some may make sounds that you're like, yeah, I kind of like that sound, but I don't really know how I would ever use this in my current context. That's fine. Just kind of file it away in your head. Maybe 6 months or a year from now, you're going to be in a situation and you're going to go, oh, I want that sound now. I didn't want it then, but I want it now. And then you'll remember where to get it. And some pedals are going to make it straight to your pedal board. You're going to be tearing other pedals off the pedal board to get this one on. Those are really good days. I like those days a lot. Remember that all of this is a process. Your pedal board is going to evolve over time. It's really unlikely that your signal chain is going to be the same 3 years from now as it is today. That's half the fun of this. So enjoy the journey. I hope that this has given you some tools for trying out new pedals in a pretty efficient and methodological way. And yeah, happy experimenting.